We are now going to break down the Stardom in Korakuen show that happened on September 27, 2025. Of course, it's in the title of the show at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan. It was a show that captivated a lot of interest from, well, myself, but also a lot of other Puro fans because of the main event. That saw Saya Kamitani and Azumi go one-on-one in a title-for-title match. So the Wonder of Stardom title was on the line, as well as Azumi's New Japan Strong Women's Championship, which immediately had me go, oh, right. New Japan Strong is a thing that exists still, apparently. And I was very interested, and I was very looking forward to seeing that match and seeing, the rest of the card, of course, but that was the one match that I was really focused on. And then, I believe it was on the Thursday, just the day before the show, it was announced that that Stardom was going to stream the show for free on their YouTube channel, and that took a lot of people by surprise, pleasantly surprised. Be sure that I'm clear here. Very, very surprised on that one, but a nice surprise. And a lot of people think that it might be due to the fact that just the day before, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, I can't quite remember, but within the same week, a full Stardom match was broadcast on, as we like to say, terrestrial TV, not cable, just over the air broadcast television. Which is wild because if I remember correctly, that was the first time that a Joshi match was aired in its entirety on broadcast television in 20 years. So that was a significant milestone, and one would assume that Stardom was then trying to capitalize off of that great attendance, that great visibility that they had through that event to sort of try and attract even more fans. It's like, hey, you saw us, a couple of days ago on this nationally broadcast television outlet. Well, here's a free show for you. Voila, and we're gonna put our best foot forward and enjoy it. So I thought that was lovely. You just was able to. And the good thing with Stardom shows is that they start fairly early in the day. I think this one was meant to start at 11 a.m. Over in Japan, which means that over here on the Canadian Eastern Seaboard, we got the show starting at 10 p.m. I was like, oh, I can do that. That's awesome. Don't have to get up in the middle of the this is great. So everything sort of. I think it was a nice, happy little bundle of great kismet that all came together to so that I could be able to watch the show and then plop down here the next day. It's Saturday right now. I am recording this on the 27th. And you're like, well, wait, Warren, you're saying yesterday and the show was on the 27th, but you're recording this on the 27th, but you're saying yesterday. Warren, are you confused again? Old man Hayes losing his mind again? No. Pump the brakes here. The 27th at 11 a.m. on the 27th of September in Japan, which means that for us, again, on the Canadian Eastern Seaboard, we got to watch the show on the 26th at 10 p.m. See how that goes? See, it's a little something called time zones. I know it's, I know it's this wackadoo concept that maybe, a few people are, have trouble wrapping their minds around. Look, if some people have trouble wrapping their minds around the fact that the earth is round, I don't blame them if they can't wrap their heads around time zones. The attendance for the show that is being reported is 1,639 tickets being out there, or at least people in the venue. Now, that's huge. This is Stardom's biggest attendance in Korakuen Hall of all time. And from what my from now, just chatting with pals, this actually might be the highest attended Korakuen since COVID by any promotion. But this could be disputed. Okay, I'm not coming out here telling you with full confidence that that it is what it is. In my circles, we're talking a lot about the business end of the show. And apparently this could be the case. If the number is legit, if it does stand up, there is a very good chance that this show might be the highest attended Korakuen since COVID, which is nuts. Again, like, Stardom is just having an absolute banner year, and it's ridiculous to think otherwise. But I'm jumping around here. I just want to finish my thought though on the 1,639 tickets distributed. That means, I don't know how familiar you are with the setup of Korakuen Hall, but that means that all of their standing room tickets were sold. So, you have because there's always standing room like at the top in Korakuen where you can still stuff more people in there, but you're standing for the entirety of the match. And usually those don't like fill up. In this case though, everything has. Like, for a wrestling show, from what I understand, there was like no conceivable room left for any human bodies in Korakuen. It was just packed to the gills. People were standing in the hallways. That's how many people there were at the show. So again, just I just wanted to make that point to make sure that was clear. But yeah, like it's undeniable right now that Stardom is having a banner year. It is having one of the best years of its entire existence. Did I say one of? No. They're having the best year of its entire existence. They've never had this much success, highly attended shows. It's wild when you think that the minute Rossi Ogawa, who is on the ballot, by the way, this year for the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, the minute Rossi Ogawa gets booted from the company, Stardom soars to levels that it has never soared to previously. And then Marigold in the meantime, just bleeding its top acts. And I do not have a good place in my heart for Rossi Ogawa, who I think is one of the most overrated wrestling personalities in the history of the business. I didn't say the most, one of the most. He's so whatever genius mind people believe that he had for Stardom, this is a guy who was never able to turn a profit with this company. He was never able to make any money off of it, no matter how many kiss cards he had his girls do. And to get himself out of the financial hole, he was forced to sell to Bushiroad. And then Bushiroad had enough of his shenanigans, because even while under Bushiroad, he wasn't necessarily tearing the house down. And the minute he leaves, the minute he hits the bricks, this company starts rebuilding, changes face, changes, the people who are at the top, starts pushing exciting young talent. And all of a sudden, the company, I don't know how much money they're making, but look, Bushiroad not that long ago, they had a media call on which they were, of course, they go through all of their properties and they say, oh, this one is performing well and whatnot. And in their sports division, well, they obviously talked about New Japan and Stardom, but the pictures that were being used to, like, on their PowerPoint presentation, it was all Stardom. It was all Stardom wrestlers. Because, and not too much focus was put on New Japan. How about we leave it at that? There wasn't much focus put on New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's undeniable right now what that Stardom is a hot promotion. It is probably the yeah, I would say with a fair amount of confidence that it is the most buzzworthy promotion coming out of Japan right now. I don't think there's like maybe Pro Wrestling Noah, but then a lot of that was based around Ozawa, right? And isn't he injured right now? So that sort of throws a glass of cold water on their plans, because Ozawa was the guy. He was the king of Korakuen, and I would argue that Saya Kamitani is she's the queen of Korakuen, but he nonetheless he nonetheless was sort of carrying Noah to a bit of a resurgence. Now that he's gone due to injury, is Noah suffering a little bit? Is it not as interesting? Like I haven't read some great thing. I didn't watch the N1 tournament, but I didn't necessarily hear some good things from the people that I trust in these matters. They were like, everything was bad to mid. Everyone loved night one of the N1, but then after that, it felt like everything just nosedived and wasn't able to pick up. After that, it's not New Japan. Like in case you're screaming at your screen right now, Warren, what about New Japan Pro Wrestling? No. New Japan is in a terrible spot right now, both creatively and financially. It is not a good promotion right now. So that's a whole other kettle of fish that we're not getting into here. DDT, but DDT has such an intense flavor, specific flavor of pro wrestling that, I don't know if that's necessarily everyone's. In fact, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I don't know if that hoists them to a number two position. I don't know. I don't know what to think about necessarily about DDT. Like those would GLEAT? No. You know what I mean? Like Stardom is in such a great place. And if anyone wanted to call it, the number one promotion in the country right now, as far as fan interest, buzz, business metrics, great wrestling, good angles, I can't counter argument that. I don't like the only other Puro promotion that I listen to regularly is New Japan. And New Japan's the pits these days. Like, it's not great. So sure, I'm all for it. I'm all about it. It's just tremendous. Like I'm excited for the future of Stardom, and I kind of wish that other promotions, particularly New Japan Pro Wrestling, would look at the success that Stardom is having and go to emulate that. And when I say emulate it, just do what they did and focus on new, fresh, exciting, talented faces. God bless Mayu Iwatani. And I know she had been relegated to more of a mid-card role in the last few years. In Stardom, she wasn't like the constant headliner she once was. I understand that. But look at what they did with Mayu. She decided to leave. 7 years ago, let's say, you told me Mayu Iwatani is hitting the bricks from Stardom. And, everyone does one of these, they have they do the soy face reactions, and it's like, oh my God, like that's a major blow to the company. But when Mayu did decide to leave to go to Marigold to go help out her buddy, well, no one batted an eye outside of people saying, wow, Stardom without Mayu is going to be weird. And especially for longtime viewers. I absolutely understand what, it's kind of like Hogan leaving WWF. You're like, that this is very strange, you know what I mean? But did the promotion suffer for it? Hell no. Are they in financial straits because Mayu left? Hell no. If anything, this was the perfect time for her to leave, where the company is in a great spot. She felt that she probably would. She saw the direction. Like, she's no dummy. She probably saw the direction where this was going. It was like, okay, there's no more. There's no more room for me at the top. So I'm gonna move on, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So I'm not saying suddenly you have to fire everyone in New Japan and start over and only like push the young lions. That's not what I'm saying. But see, New Japan it has the situation where the people who were at the top, right? The people who led the charge in the 2010s, in the golden era of New Japan, as a lot of people call it, right? They're all retiring, and they're broken down, or they just flat out left. There's a bunch of situations, where Okada, Jay White, Ospreay, Naito, Tanahashi, for whatever reasons, like, it's all coming to an end. But instead of focusing on the new guys, they're still focusing on these older dudes, which is preposterous. And I sincerely believe if New Japan had done a better job building the younger, fresher talent into these top guy spots, the company would not be in the position that it is now, with stale creative and bad attendance. Anyway, I'm not here to audit the entirety of the world of Puro. I'm here to talk about the Stardom in Korakuen show. Look, let's go right to the top of the to the tippy top of the card. That's the match that everyone wanted to see. That's the one I want to talk about the most. So we'll do that. We'll talk about the business end of the card first. The last two matches, the post intermission matches. And here's another thing. Here's another great thing about Stardom. The matches are all designed to be fast paced, shorter matches, right? So you never. I never get the vibe where, I'm being sunk into this 30-minute affair with, drawn out segments, and it's like, oh my God, they're just padding for time or whatever. And the shows themselves, like, these are 3-hour shows. This is in and out. This is extremely respectful of your time. It's extremely respectful of your time, So anyone who's these days is complaining that, wrestling shows go a little too long. I mean, look, you've literally, Stardom, does a nice tidy 3-hour show where you won't get bored. And then, if you want to stick in North America, well, you've got CMLL that does the same thing. But again, I don't want to go off on too much of a sidebar here, but because the idea here is that I felt the show was easy breezy to watch, lots of action. Was it all great? No, but the stuff that was not good on this show was short enough to not piss me off, to not be like, what the fuck am I doing here? Right? It's not a 12-minute House of Torture match where you've got like 7 minutes of goofball nonsense and you're like, what the fuck are we doing with our lives? Right? So the bad stuff didn't take up that big of a chunk of time in the show enough to make me feel like I was wasting my time doing this, because it moved on. It always keeping things rolling and whatnot. Because what the show also did is it set up a lot of matches. It set up a lot of stuff for future shows, future matches, maybe even some Queendom stuff. We'll see how it all goes. But let's start talking about the main event. Saya Kamitani defeated Azumi to retain the World of Stardom Championship, but also become the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. And like I said, it's like, oh, right, the Strong Belt. I had legitimately forgotten about it. And I was wondering, is this just a way to get it off Azumi so that Saya can take the title and sort of laugh at it and say, I don't want this trash, and then bin it, and then we're officially done with New Japan Strong? Because from my understanding, we shouldn't be expecting any US shows anytime soon from New Japan. Not at least under the Strong brand. That might be a dead brand. We'll see how things go. But as it stands, there hasn't been a show in months, folks. Like, you know, what, in May, I think May was the last one, something to that effect. It's not necessarily the best spot to be a New Japan Strong fan right now. But no, like, she embraced the title when she won it and so on and so forth. But look, maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit. This was a very physical, very exciting match. I thought it was an excellent match. They fought into the stands early on, which, you know, it was very standard. They didn't do anything really compelling. You know, they did the usual stuff where, you know, you throw the person into the chairs and then they walk and brawl up to that section, that upper section in the stands of Korakuen. You know what I'm talking about. They're doing that, and then they come right back. So I'm like, okay, you know, Saya tossed Azumi through an exit door, which you know, got a chuckle out of me. But you know, anyway. But back in the ring, that's where all the business was, right? They start paintbrushing each other with like these super stiff open hand shots, and Azumi does a crossbody to the floor, and she spends a good portion of this match going for Saya's arm, right? That's part of, you know, the arm bar is part of it's part and parcel with Azumi's multiple ways to end a match. So she's going for the arm, went for a La Mistica early on as well. Eventually in this match, they start trading suplexes with each other, which was awesome. And Kamitani got the better of that exchange with 3 Northern Lights suplexes, which again was awesome. And there's shortly after that, there's a moment where Azumi does 2 back-to-back Azumi Sushi covers, and I completely bit on the second one. Like, she does the first one, Saya kicks out, but Azumi hangs on, holds on, stays in control, and then rolls into a second Azumi Sushi. And I completely bit on that one. Like, there was some massive 2.9 action going on at certain circumstances in this match. That was tremendous. And then Azumi starts unleashing Canadian destroyers. Then she's just like, she's spamming Canadian destroyers. She does a standard one. She does a double underhook one. And then she does a nasty avalanche destroyer. And at that point, and Kamitani kicks out after after Azumi pins her after doing the move. And look, I'm going to be honest with you folks. When am I not? But I'm going to be honest. I want to underscore how honest I am. I kind of feel like this was a big late game finishing move that should have ended the match, or, you know, one of these things that Azumi hits it, but it takes a lot out of her and she can't get the pin. You know, she can't get the cover in time, so that allows Saya to recuperate, kind of thing. But yeah, the kick out was kind of weird, but I also understand that they are building Saya, or they have been building Saya. You know, they call it the Saya Sama thing, where she's completely invincible, right? That's the shtick that they're going with this girl. So I understand, like, it makes sense in that circumstance. But as a professional wrestling fan, you can look at that and you can go, wait a second, no one should be kicking out of that. It was a little strange, admittedly, and it took me out a little bit of the match. You know, my two least favorite spots of the match were the walk and brawl in Korakuen and this kick out. But the kick out is very nitpicky. You know, it took me out a little bit, but not like flipping the table over and going, what the fuck is this? You know, because again, I understand what they're doing with Saya. It's part of her angle. It's part of her development to, you know, as a heel champion, to be like this invincible force of nature. So I understand it. We get more arm bars by Azumi, and Saya's getting stretched big time. But 2 Star Crushers by the champ get the job done. And she, like we said, she retains and becomes new strong women's champion. I have no, like, again, look, if people are rubbing their hands together and going, hell yes, Saya Kamitani coming to San Jose, coming to the Lowell Center in Massachusetts, you know, don't hold your breath. Like, honestly, like, do not hold your breath. I have no idea what New Japan has planned for the strong stuff, but I don't think it's something that we'll be seeing anytime soon. Anyway, so yeah, don't hold your breath here. If your first thought is like, I'm gonna buy tickets to go see Saya Kamitani when she comes to you know, Arlington, Texas. That's not gonna happen. I mean, it was an excellent match. Like, these women just went completely furious on each other. Huge moves, great pace. Like, I'd give it a 4.5 star rating out of 5. Like, without a doubt, this was an excellent match that I highly recommend. And it's like, what was the time on this? 23 minutes? You would have told me this match lasted 15 and I would have believed you. Like, 23 minutes. It didn't feel that way. Don't you love those kind of matches? Because the opposite is worse. The opposite is a lot worse. When it's a short match, when it's a 15-minute match, and you're like, brother, this felt like 30. Yeah, like that's the worst. But the opposite, where you're like, it's a 20+ minute match and it felt like 15 minutes. It's like, yeah, let's go. Like, again, it's time well served, and it's free. It's free for you right now on YouTube. You have no reason to not watch this match. After the match and the post-match promos and whatnot, Momo Watanabe shows up. She, of course, won the 5-star Grand Prix, so technically, like, she's next in line. She's next in line, despite the fact that B. Priestley and Izumi got title matches before her, because both B and Izumi pinned Saya in the Grand Prix. So, you know, you pin a champion, you get a shot. So, you know, those have been cleared out of the way. And now it looks like the road is clear for Momo. And is that going to be your main event for Wrestle Queendom in December? I can't tell you. I don't know. It's too far. It's still a little far out, but not that far out. You know, when you think about it, today's the 27th, right? So it's in 3 months. It's not that far away for a big show like Queendom. They released the poster, by the way, for Queendom, for Wrestle Queendom. They released the poster, and there is one person on it, and it is Saya Kamitani. That's all. See, I've argued this recently. I think there aren't many people right now in pro wrestling that you can point to and say, that person is a draw. There isn't much. You know, I think you can do it with Ozawa, and I think you can absolutely do it with Saya Kamitani. Like, you can't do it in New Japan. You can't do it in AEW. You can't even do it in WWE, because we're going to have all sorts of arguments, because there's going to be all sorts of opinions. But you turn around and you look at Saya Kamitani and what she's been doing in Stardom, and you're like, undeniable. This woman is a draw, and they probably have the data to back it up. And that's why they released a poster for the biggest show of the year, and there's only one face on the poster so far right now, and that is Saya Kamitani. And you could be like, but why? And of course they're not going to put more people on the poster because they're going to be spoiling matches. No, that's dumb. You could put all of your women's, all of your top women's faces on the poster. You could put Saya and Izumi and Kamitani. Kamitani. Starlight Kid is what I was trying to say. You could put Hanako on there. She just won a title. There's so many. Hina. You could put so many titles, people's faces on there. Poi and Sari Anu. You could put all those faces on the poster if you wanted, without spoiling any matches. What are we talking about? But they decided to put one face because they know they most likely know there is only one face that matters right now. There's one face that's printing money, and that is Saya Kamitani. I don't know what to tell you. Prove me wrong. At this point, it's just like all of the proof is there. The data backs it up. They're on this tremendous run ever since Saya won the title, right? So what are we doing? Also, Saya Kamitani said in her post-match promo that she's going to take Stardom all the way to the Tokyo Dome, which got a rousing cheer from the crowd. And the thing here is that I believe it. I believe it, and I'm like, sure, do it. I think she has the chops to do it. I don't will it be this year? I don't know. Well, this year, when I mean in the next 12 months. How about that? Maybe the next 12 months. Maybe this year. No, probably not, because the year's almost done. But as opposed to but it makes sense. It ain't going to be Shota Umino who's going to take New Japan to the Tokyo Dome. It ain't going to be Ren Narita. It's not going to be Kenta who's going to take Pro Wrestling Noah. I don't know. There's a solid case for this. I have a tendency to believe her. Incredible match. Eventful post match stuff. Go out of your way to watch it. It was a great match. Let's move on. The other match, the second from the top, was for the Future of Stardom title, where Hanako defeated Hina to become the new champion. This was a good, strong match that really set the table for what was to come in the rest. At least the start really set the table for what was going to come in the rest of the match. They're laying into each other. And of course, Hina is trying to use her speed as much as possible to counteract Hanako's strength. There's lots of strikes. There's even some fighting spirit where I'm getting revved up. I'm like, all right, let's go. Some great stuff here. Hina tries to sneak a win in with the using a Gedo clutch, but Hanako lands a last ride and a torture rack slam for the win. Really great stuff. I went 4 flat on that one. I thought it was a tremendous match. Really well worked. Really power based and hard hitting. That was really good. I enjoyed it. And what this does is that it ends a 215-day reign for Hina for the Future of Stardom, which a lot of people, felt, which a lot of people thought was quite long. It's not the longest. There's been people who've had it longer than her. She's had 7 successful defenses, so there's a bit of a grip. There was a bit of a grip around the title there, but now it's been loosened and it's over to Hanako, so there'll be some new possibilities, some new openings there. Especially since after the match, Aya Sakura jumped into the ring and challenged Hanako for the title. So we've already got that coming out the gate. It looks super interesting and a great match. There's good, hard hitting, power based. It's the kind of wrestling I like, and it really gave us a great appetizer for the main event. It really set the stage, gave us whetted your appetite for some really great wrestling afterwards, which is what we got. So it was this was really well booked, well structured, great match. Yeah, and congratulations on Hakano as well. Why don't we then, for the rest of the show, let's circle back to the bottom of the card, and we'll work our way back up then, because yeah, I really wanted to sort of get the two top matches of the show out of the way. I did not watch the pre-show match where Yuria Hime defeated Kyoko Furusawa. I apologize. I didn't get there on time to watch, right? I thought that was like they were starting the show like at 10 minutes past the hour, right? So I'm like, oh well, they're starting it off, and then they're gonna, you know, it'll take a few minutes to start, you know. So I was finishing up a mission in Helldivers 2. It finished around 10. Then I get up, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, go to the bathroom, wash your hands, very important. And I give Juno her medication. She's fine. It's just to keep. She'd been itching, you know, a lot. Went to the vets earlier this week, and turns out, you know, it was like, oh well, seasonal allergies. We'll give her this medication that'll keep her from scratching, and it worked. So she's doing well. I just have to keep it up for about 10 days. So she's doing good. Made some popcorn. Put my hands together, pop open the old YouTube app on the TV, and then it turns out that it's just like, and then it turns out I missed the majority of the pre-show match. I completely mistimed it, you know, just out of hubris, I guess. So I have no thoughts, unfortunately, on that front. So we'll start talking about the Cosmic Angels and the team of Natsupoi and Saori Anu, alongside Tei Hanma defeating Rana Yagami, Rion, and Sayaka Kurara. A fine opener, got people into it. A lot of wrestlers here that are very popular with the Stardom crowd, and that I like myself. I like Saori Anu a lot. I like Sayaka Kurara a lot as well. I enjoyed it, but I don't have much to say about it. Yeah, it's a good fine little opener. Tai Hanma got the win with by having Yagami tap out, and yeah, I believe if I'm not mistaken here, this is like kind of part of a retirement tour for Hanma. I believe she's retiring in the next month, and Natsupoi and Anu did this match with her because they all broke in together about a decade ago over in Actress. So I think this is just them, you know, getting this little match together, have Hanma wrestle on the Stardom stage and have a nice little time, you know, everyone together, and then having her get the win. Because yeah, she's retiring next month. So I think this is what it was all about, and it's going to lead to another match, a singles match between Hanma and Yagami as well. So yeah, there you go. A nice little, fun little 3-star match, like nothing out of the ordinary, and you just, you know, you get some crowd favorites into the ring. You do the little, you know, retirement shtick here, and everyone goes home happy. How about that? Waka Tsukiyama defeated Momo Kogo. Again, this was fine. You know, I've seen a couple of Waka matches. I might not be the more knowledgeable when it comes to Waka's stuff, but yeah, she's, you know, I feel like we're so close with her because she's got a lot of charisma. She's got a lot of charisma, and she's so close to being like someone who's super duper 100% over. But there's always like something missing. There's always, and I don't know what it is. And might be in her work, quality of opponent. Well, the time of the match too. Like this was a 5-minute match. It's not as if we're tearing the house down with 5 minutes. But you know, Momo Kogo isn't exactly, you know, she ain't exactly Minami Toyota, if you know what I'm talking about. This match did have a nice series of near falls that led to Waka pinning Momo with some kind of jackknife pin thing. So another like 3-star special. I don't know. There's nothing out of the ordinary. let's keep it going. We get a trios match where the Stars team of Hanan, Saya, and B. Priestley defeat the Hate trio of Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Fukijin Death by disqualification, though. Oh, yeah. This was a very short match. Not as short as the Waka match, but still like sub 7 minutes. And, for whatever was going on, at some point, Momo runs in with her bat and she starts swinging it like she's at the home run derby during All-Star Weekend, right? She's just swinging for people, taking everyone down, and the ref is just like wagging his finger at her. He's going, "Hey, what are you doing with the bat? What are you doing with that?" And he doesn't call the match. He does call the match, though, when Konami cracks a chair over Hanan's head. Then it's like that. Now that's a step too far, right? A wrestler running into the ring, swinging for the fences at other wrestlers' heads with a baseball bat, that the ref can stomach. But a chair shot, that's where he draws the line. No, sir, we're not going any further than this. Call the match. That's, it's all, It is what it is. It's fine. See, this is what I mean. This is what I meant earlier when I was saying the bad stuff at the very least, because this is a 2 3/4 star match. Like it's, mediocre. There's nothing to really get into. And it's just like, okay, I understand what they're doing. Let's just move on kind of thing. And that's what we did. It's like, we didn't drag this out to 10 minutes full of interference only to end with this shitty finish. And like, your time was not wasted. Yes, it's a heel finish, and sometimes the heels have to finish matches like this, but you're not wasting your time with it. They didn't draw this out, into double digits time wise to make you feel like oh well, we have to pad the show, we have to give people their money. No, they understood, and I appreciate that, and that's why I'm not like sitting here flipping tables and screaming bloody murder like I do with the House of Torture matches. Because that's not what we got here, and it was fine. It was fine, and I haven't been timing myself, but I've probably talked about this match longer than the match itself. Moving on, we had a 3-way, 12-person tag team match under Lucha rules. So no tags, we're rolling in and out of the ring, etc. And it is the Cosmic Angels duo of Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori alongside Hazuki and Kaguma, aka FWC. They defeated Emma Mishima and the Neo Genesis trio of Mei Seira, Miyu Hamasaki, and Starlight Kid, and the Mi Vida Loca trio of Akira Kurugame, or not trio, quartet of Akira Kurugane, Itsuki Aoki, Rina Yamashita, and Bozilla. This was a crowd pleaser. This was a party match, like we like to say. I really liked the start of this match. I loved it actually, where they had this terrific high speed work between Hazuki, Sarah, and Kurugane. It was just fantastic stuff. And then they do, like I said, party match. There's some goofy stuff in here. They do a suplex centipede, where everyone's lined up in a suplex position and all the team sort of accordions each other, one next to each other, or like a centipede. And then Mei Seira hops on top of all of their backs and then runs off of them to drop kick two other wrestlers. It's fine. It's all right. And then Bozilla shoulder charges everyone. She's just laying everyone down. And Hazuki gets the win for her team. Blast of a match. I thought it was fun. 3 1/4 star for me. I was hoping to see a little more Starlight Kid. I like me the Starlight Kid. She's one of my go-tos. She has her 10th anniversary show coming up in a couple of weeks. You know, the one where she's teaming with El Desperado and Dragon Kid. You know, apparently it's already sold out. Apparently it's sold out in a flash, actually, which is great. Yeah, that's next month. Yeah, it's in October. I can't remember the date, but I know it's in October. So that should be fun. That should be fun. And look, back to the match itself, though. Well, the post match, after the match, President Okada makes a match. He makes Hazuki versus Koguma for the CMLL Japan title. Because yes, there is a CMLL Japan title that I'm sure CMLL has forgotten exists. I'm 100% convinced that CMLL is just like, oh, all right. They heard about this match. You know, Hazuki and Koguma are going to the Women's Grand Prix in CMLL, right? And, you know, I'm sure Koguma is going to pull out the belt, you know, for her entrance. And then, you know, the Lutheroths are going to be backstage. They're going to, oh, shit. Right. That title. Whoa. Anyway. Yeah, this was fun. Like I said, right? 3.25. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Next, we had another trios match. Amy, Sarai, Kyoka, Kotatsu, and Lady C of God's Eye. They defeated the Hate trio of Natsuko Tora, Rina, and Ruaka. This is a good match. Work here was super solid. Good action. There were some use of international objects in here towards the end of the match, but by the Hate crew, of course, but it played against them because Lady C used the chair on Tora to get the win. So a good little match. I'd give it 3.25. I thought it was solid. You know, I think Natsuko Tora as a throwback, you know, as a throwback big heel, you know, I think she's very good in that role. I think she's tremendous. It's kind of something that I'd like Bozilla to embrace more, but look, one thing at a time. And then after the match, Soray and Lady C, aka the Reiwa Tokyo Towers, challenged for the Goddess of Stardom titles, which are the tag team titles, which are currently held by Hate. I think it's Tora and it's Tora and Ruaka who hold them, right? Yes, correct. And that leads us to Sari and Kaoru Ito defeating the God's Eye duo of Shuri and Tomoaka Inaba. Boy, I mean, this up until this point, that was the match of the night. It was fantastic. Kaoru Ito is a former AJPW wrestler and a mixed martial artist. And boy, can she not move. Holy smokes. Like that mobility, man. Yikes. That was not great. When you saw her come into the ring, you're like, oh my goodness. Like she's in her 50s. She's in her, I think 53, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's just not great. Like this is really someone whose better years are way behind them. But on the flip side, it really gave a lot more room for Sari, which is a good thing. And as expected, this was a super physical match, tons of strikes, lots of little extra stank on the shots and whatnot. As Shuri and Sari continue to lay into each other, continue that feud. It's not done yet. And when Ito and it ends, I should say, when Ito and Sari do a combination last ride double stomp on Inaba, and then after Sari picks her up and just dumps her with a some kind of backdrop driver, dumps her right on the top of her dome. Jesus Christ. Sari dumping people on their heads. Must be a day that ends in Y. Terrific finish. And everything was great. I thought this was really good. This was a very, very good match. 3.75 stars is how I'd go with it. And I thought Inaba looked absolutely terrific. And there is a lot of there's a lot of potential in this wrestler. She is tremendous. Like those kicks that she was laying in were phenomenal. Like she's right out of the, like she knew who she was dealing with here. Like, Shuri on her side, Sari on the other, she knew, she understood the mission. We weren't going to start pulling punches back. We were going to go full throttle in. And, she just like goes full in, like full hip rotation on those kicks. It's fantastic stuff, but wasn't enough. And she got pinned here. I really like her. I think she is absolutely tremendous. And we get a little post-match angle here as well, where Sari essentially refuses to give Shuri a shot at the IWGP World Women's Championship, which of course Sari is currently the title holder, basically telling her, no, you got to earn it. So I'm like, oh, you see, but this is Sari. This is Sari since the particularly, I should say, during the 5-star, where she's just like, nah, she's just a little jerk, thinking that she's better than the entire Stardom roster and and whatnot. And personally, I think that's I think it's been a great gimmick for her. Like it's really been tremendous. When I say gimmick, attitude, personality, she's been really, really good in that role. So, and she's like, yeah, sure, you want to fight me again? Well, no, not until you earn it, not until you prove that you're good enough for this. And that's a great, it goes perfectly hand in hand with her persona right now in Stardom. It's fantastic. It's good that Shuri is already back. That clearly the surgery was successful to the point that she could just jump immediately back into the fray. Hopefully she's not over pushing herself, but this was good news. And selfishly, I also hope that she gets another shot to work for AEW a little bit, because I think Shuri could, I think more of an international audience getting their eyes on her would be a good thing, because she has always been a fantastic wrestler, and I think she has the work to get herself over with the AEW crowd. But in the meantime, she's probably going to be gunning for Sari's title, and we'll have to win matches then. Start from the bottom, work your way to the top. Look, it's classic pro wrestling. I love it. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's super cool. So there you have it. Did I say? Yeah, 3 3/4 stars. And then that's it. That's the end of the review, because we've already talked about Hanako versus Hina and Kamitani versus Azumi. So that's all out of the way. That's the review of this show, which, again, easy breezy to watch. If you want recommendations, look, the main event is a must watch. And if you've got 15 minutes more out of your day, you will enjoy Hanako versus Hina. I don't think it's as much must see, but it's a good recommendation. I think it's a match. It's a match people will enjoy, but absolutely the main event. That's 100% worth carving out time out of your day to sit down, ingest, and enjoy. There you go. Stardom in Korakuen, September 27, 2029. Review in the books.